The movie begins with Bob Parr, who is also known by his superhero name Mr. Incredible, and is recognized for his exceptional strength and power. He is engaged to Helena Truax, who is also known as Elastigirl, a superhero possessing the remarkable ability to stretch, change the shape, and alter the size of her body. One day, Mr. Incredible notices a robbery taking place at the Metroville Bank. He decides to take action and follows the supervillain, Bomb Voyage, to the bank. While he was in the process of apprehending the villain, a remarkably intelligent boy named Buddy arrives, expressing his desire to become Mr. Incredible's sidekick and inadvertently causing interference. Bob tells him to go home and insists on working alone. However, as the boy soared through the sky using his rocket boots, the villain surreptitiously attached a bomb to him. Mr. Incredible valiantly endeavored to save him, but they were both launched into the air. He successfully rescued him, but unfortunately, the bomb detonated on a train track bridge. As the train was about to plummet, Mr. Incredible acted quickly and prevented the disaster by stopping the train, ultimately saving the day. However, his momentary triumph was swiftly curtailed when he became embroiled in a lawsuit filed against him in the Superior Court. The victims of the train rescue sued for their injuries, blaming Mr. Incredible's actions and the resulting collateral damage to the city's infrastructure. As a result, the government responded resolutely by enacting a ban on superhero work, thereby prohibiting all superhumans from publicly employing their powers and urging them to embrace ordinary lives. 15 years have elapsed since Bob and Helen began living a regular life with their 3 children, all of whom possess powers like their parents. Violet has the ability to turn invisible and create force fields. Dash boasts super speed, while Jack, their youngest child, appears to lack any special abilities. Bob has become overweight and works at an insurance company, but he yearns for his former days as a superhero. To pursue this dream, he covertly sneaks out on Wednesday nights with his best friend Lucius, also known by his superhero name Frozone. Together, they listen to a police scanner in order to assist people in need. One fateful day, they bravely rescue civilians trapped in a blazing building. However, Lucius's powers prove inadequate against the intense heat. Mr. Incredible managed to break through the wall, but inadvertently stumbled into a neighboring jewelry store, causing the police to mistake them for robbers. However, Lucius quickly freezes them and together they manage to escape. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious woman named Mirage had been following them. The following day, while Bob was at work, he received a call from his boss. As he went to his office, Mirage entered and discreetly placed a device in his bag. When Bob arrived, his boss expressed dissatisfaction because he had unknowingly assisted customers in providing information against the company. However, in the midst of their conversation, Bob observed from the window that a man was being mugged by a thief. With a sense of urgency, he hurried to intervene, but his boss intercepted him and warned him that he would be fired if he stepped out the door. Bob became angry, walked back, and realized the thief had escaped. Consumed by rage, Bob tightly grasped his boss's neck and forcefully propelled him into the walls. After his boss was hospitalized, he ended up losing his job. However, Rick Dicker, a government agent and Bob's former acquaintance, has intervened to suppress the incident by compensating the company for its silence. However, due to the excessive financial burden on the government, Dicker informs Bob that he can no longer offer assistance. Feeling overwhelmed with sadness and dejection, Bob returns to his home. As he opens his briefcase, he stumbles upon an unfamiliar item, which turns out to be a tablet device. Curiosity piqued, he activates the device, which immediately scans him and confirms his identity. To his astonishment, he discovers a message left for him by Mirage, who presents an enticing job offer, to dismantle a dangerous robot located on a remote island. She offers him generous payment for his services. Bob becomes ecstatic as he sees it as an opportunity to return to his former profession. Determined to seize this chance, he decides to keep it a secret from his wife. Instead, he tells her that his company has sent him on a business trip abroad, and he will be away for a few days. The following day, Mr. Incredible contacted Mirage, who joined him on a private jet. She explained the mission and the predicament they encountered with Omnidron, a rogue battle robot that had spiraled out of control. Mirage escorted him to the island, and upon their arrival, he meticulously explored the surroundings. Eventually, he unexpectedly encountered the Omnidrone, and the robot launched an attack to eliminate him. A monumental battle ensued, where Mr. Incredible exhibited immense courage and made valiant efforts. However, the formidable robot proved insurmountable. After a brief struggle, Bob managed to tear off the lower part of the robot, gaining access to its interior. During this encounter, the robot made a desperate attempt to eliminate him, unintentionally resulting in its own demise. Mr. Incredible returns home with the generous prize money. He embarks on a journey to transform his life, filling it with joy and contentment alongside his family. He purchases a brand new vehicle for himself and his wife. Wholeheartedly, he dedicates himself to sculpting his physique through rigorous exercise, shedding excess weight, and reclaiming his shape. In preparation for his upcoming mission, he pays a visit to Edna Mode, an esteemed designer and an old friend of his. He seeks her expertise in repairing minor damages on his supersuit. To his delight, she agrees to mend his current suit while also creating a brand new one for him. Months later, Mirage contacts him on his home phone, informing him about a new mission and inviting him to come over. However, Helen unintentionally overhears a conversation in the living room, where she only catches a fragment in which a woman mentions meeting him soon. This snippet leads her to doubt her husband's faithfulness. Mr. Incredible returns to the island to meet with Mirage, who instructs him to wait in the adjacent room. As he patiently awaits her, an upgraded version of the Omnidroid robot unexpectedly bursts into the building and apprehends him. Bob tried his best, but the robot was too powerful for him to defeat. At the crucial moment, just as the robot is about to eliminate him, a man wearing a superhero suit emerges and thwarts the robot's progress. This man unveils himself as Buddy Pine, who was an innocent child 15 years ago but has since become a prosperous weapons designer and the mastermind behind the Omnidroid. He now goes by the name Syndrome. He wants revenge on Mr. Incredible for what he did. Bob attempts to fight back, but Syndrome swiftly immobilizes him with his zero-point energy ray, throwing him around and relentlessly beating him. However, Syndrome inadvertently propels him over a waterfall. In an effort to ensure Mr. Incredible's demise, Syndrome hurls a grenade into the river, resulting in a colossal explosion. Miraculously, Mr. Incredible narrowly evades the blast by taking refuge in an underground cavern. While back home, while Helen was cleaning the room, she noticed Bob's super suit had been cut and repaired. This discovery prompted her to call Adna, as she was the only person Bob trusted to fix his suit. Adna instructed Helen to come to her home, and upon Helen's arrival, Adna showed her new suits designed to accommodate Helen and her children's specific abilities. However, Helen expressed her concerns to Adna, revealing her husband's plans to resume hero work. In response, Adna disclosed that she had crafted a super suit for him the previous day. Upon hearing this, Helen promptly contacted his workplace, only to discover that Bob had been fired from his job 2 months ago and was no longer employed there. Adna informed her that she had inserted a location device in his suit and handed her the tracking device. Mr. Incredible returns to Syndrome's base and skillfully infiltrates the building, sneaking into the area where the main computer, containing Syndrome's files, is located. There, he makes a startling discovery: the Kronos Project, a sinister plot that involves eliminating numerous superheroes, including himself, using the Omnidroid's robot. Furthermore, he uncovers Syndrome's plan to obliterate the city of Metroville with this powerful machine. However, Helen activates a suit location device to track him. This triggers the room's defense system, which detects the signal and launches an attack. Consequently, Mr. Incredible is rendered immobile and trapped. After discovering his location, Elastigirl prepared herself to travel to the island. However, her children stumbled upon a specially tailored super suit made just for them. Helen borrowed a plane from an old friend and set out on her journey to the island. However, during the flight, she discovered that Violet and Dash had secretly boarded the plane, leaving the baby in the care of a babysitter. On the island, Bob finds himself bound while Syndrome interrogates him, in order to extract information about the person he is in contact with, as they are expecting an unknown plane to arrive at their location. Elastigirl asks for landing, and Bob recognizes his voice that his wife's. In response, Syndrome launches a rocket with the intention of killing them all. Hearing the plane's alarm indicating an incoming rocket, Elastigirl attempts to evade it but fails. In a courageous move, Helen bravely leapt towards her children, shielding them from the explosion to ensure their safety. She quickly changed her shape to a parachute and safely lands them in the ocean. Mr. Incredible, upon learning of the death of his wife and children, became enraged and attempted to apprehend Syndrome. However, Mirage intervened, ultimately getting caught instead. Mr. Incredible warning Syndrome that he would end her life if he didn't release him. However, Syndrome remained indifferent, displaying no concern for her well-being. Despite his diminishing spirit, Mr. Incredible ultimately chose to release her. Elastigirl changed her shape into a boat, while Dash utilized his superhuman legs to propel them towards the island. Upon their arrival, Helen ingeniously hijacked a transportation vehicle and stealthily infiltrated a building. Meanwhile, her children stayed concealed in the jungle. From there, she bore witness to the launch of a rocket bound for the city. With her success in overpowering the occupants, she continued her determined search for her husband. In the meantime, the security camera detected intruders on the island, prompting the guards to deploy airborne drones to track them down. Violet and Dash attempted to flee, but Syndrome soldiers started following them. In the building, Mirage rushed to liberate Mr. Incredible from his imprisonment. However, he instinctively seized her throat, blaming her for the destruction of his entire family. Yet, she quickly reassured him that his family was alive. Overwhelmed with relief, Bob released his grip and embraced her. In that moment, Helen entered the room and delivered a forceful punch to Mirage's face. Filled with joy, Bob pulled Helen close and planted a grateful kiss. Mirage informed them that their children had been chased by the guards. Upon hearing this, they hurriedly rushed to find their kids. When Violet and Dash were running from the guards, they encountered their parents along the way. Together, united against the enemy, they successfully managed to defeat all of them. However, Syndrome immobilized them and captured them in an energy cell while finalizing his plan to conquer the city. Once he departed, Violet skillfully created force fields, enabling their escape from captivity. In the city of Metroville, the Rocat, carrying the Omnidroid, made its landing. Upon activation, the destructive rampage of the Omnidroid commenced, resulting in the devastation of the entire city. However, Syndrome arrived and cunningly portrayed himself as a heroic figure combating the rogue robot. Utilizing a remote device, he attempted to disable the Omnidroid, giving the appearance of triumph. Yet, unexpectedly, the Omnidroid gained self-awareness, swiftly shooting the remote control out of Syndrome's grasp, ultimately striking him and rendering him unconscious. Mr. Incredible, accompanied by his family and Mirage, embarks on a crucial mission to put an end to the destructive rampage of the Omnidroid. A monumental battle ensues when they unite with their ally, Frozone, to confront and engage the resilient robot. Nevertheless, despite their concerted efforts, the robot proves impervious to their attacks, creating a tense situation amidst the chaos that unfolds. Mr. Incredible comes to the realization that the only object with enough strength to penetrate the formidable robot is the robot itself. After acquiring Syndrome's remote control and fully understanding its capabilities, they proceed to activate one of the previously fired claws. Simultaneously, Mr. Incredible firmly grasps it, aiming and launching towards the robot. Upon impact, it destroyed the robot's power source, causing an immediate explosion that effectively eliminates the threat it posed. The citizens of the city applaud them for their achievements, particularly the joyous instances where they are rescued by superheroes. However, when Syndrome awakens, he is overcome with envy and he swears to seek vengeance. Rick Dicker accompanies them to their home, and along the way, Helen receives voicemails from the babysitter, indicating that a substitute caregiver had arrived to take care of Jack-Jack. Rushing back home, they are ambushed by Syndrome as soon as they arrive, who immobilizes them and proceeds to kidnap Jack-Jack as an act of revenge. While attempting to escape and board his jet, Jack-Jack suddenly unleashes a surge of anger, revealing his incredible array of powers. As he transforms into an imp-like monster, Syndrome releases Jack-Jack into the air. However, Elastigirl swiftly catches him, leaving Syndrome to futilely try to escape. However, Bob hurls the family car into the jet, propelling Syndrome into the turbine and instantly killing him. This causes the engine to explode and the plane to crash onto their house. In the midst of chaos, Violet shields the family from the falling flames and debris as the jet erupts. The legendary heroes have risen once more, and the indomitable Mr. Incredible and his extraordinary family have embraced their heroic destiny anew. Together, they stand as the guardians of our city, ensuring the safety and well-being of its beloved citizens.